The U.S. government announced this week that its land border with Canada is going to remain closed for at least another month. Now, those restrictions will remain in place until September 21st. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security has cited the Delta variant as the main reason for this extension. Many people have been affected by the closure, but especially the residents of Point Roberts, Washington. Now, that community is located, in fact, just south of Vancouver, and many people there say the border needs to be opened, and it needs to be opened right now. For more on this, we have reached Brian Calder. He's the director of Point Roberts Chamber of Commerce. Brian, it's been a couple of months. Good to talk to you again, sir.
Thank you for contacting us and checking up on us. No one else is.
Oh, don't say that. Okay. So you know what, Brian? I was hoping when we spoke back in June, you guys were stuck in this dire situation, and the next time we'd speak, everything would be okay. But then you issued this media release yesterday, and I want to show people at home what it said. Just simply SOS. And this was in response to the U.S. extending their border restrictions with Canada. So, Brian, why? What's going on? Why the SOS?
Well, it's desperate here, and we asked for a life jacket, and they threw us an anchor to help sink us further. If they were following the science, the U.S. side, they claim to be following the science. No one's got a better record, thanks to our fire chief, Carl, here, than Point Roberts vis-a-vis the rest of North America. We're 87% vaccinated. I was completely vaccinated by the middle of March. And we test for COVID every Sunday and every Wednesday throughout, for every week. And we're treated the worst. So if they're following the science, we're the first place they should do a pilot project, and we need it more than anyone else also economically. When we had last 2018, 2019, we had 1.5 million visits through the border. Mm-hmm. This year we'll do about 100,000. 1.5 million or 100,000. Say 1.5 million at $10. Everyone spent $10. That's $15 million. It's gone.
That's gone.
And we're all mom and pop operators. We're, the self-employed types. We're small businesses where the mom and dad will run the business, kids will work at it, and maybe a few employees as well.
So, Brian, forgive me, sir, for interrupting, but I just want to press pause for a second, because just in case people don't remember the interview or the story from back in June. So you folks are technically part of the United States, but geographically cut off from mainland America, and you're actually far closer to us, but you're not officially Canadians. So the problem is that you guys don't have a doctor, you don't have a pharmacy, you don't have big businesses, you don't have a McDonald's or a KFC's, and you're so dependent on travel coming across both sides of the border for your daily lives and for your economic existence. So you folks are able to come into Canada, but we're not able to come into Point Roberts. So explain to folks at home why that's a problem.
You've got a good memory. You thank you for your concern as well. I'm dual citizen. 50% of us here in Point Roberts are dual citizens, Canadian and U.S. passport. But you're right, we're not attached to mainland USA. We are attached to British Columbia. Remove that line and we're part of Delta, British Columbia. Just take the 49th line and draw it around us. We're now landmass-wise attached. We're physically attached. So the only way in here by car is through Canada, British Columbia, Delta, BC. And so when we want to go to Bellingham back to mainland USA, we have to travel 20 miles through Highway 99 through Delta, Surrey, back in to mainland USA at the Peace Arch. And so it's a tough one. 75% of our properties are owned by British Columbians or Canadians. 75%. All of our water and power comes from British Columbia through Delta, all of it. 90% of our economy. Look at those numbers. We're 1,000 people, and we get 1.5 million through our border annually. That's Canadians. That isn't American. So we are totally dependent and supported by Canada, British Columbia, and Delta, BC.
So with Homeland Security saying, hey, speaking of Delta, we've got this issue with the Delta variant of COVID-19, so we're going to keep the border closed. So then in practical terms, what does that mean for folks like you and your neighbors?
Well, it's economic devastation, but it's also unnecessary. It's not being driven by the health science, in my opinion. It's being driven by Homeland Security. And Homeland Security mentality is military, lockdown, one size fits all. You'll all comply with the same rule, and that's the way it is. And so when they say they're using the science, if they truly looked at us science-wise, we're the safest place around. We're no danger to anybody. And what they've done with Canada, thankfully, has allowed some of our people to escape their 18 months of quarantine and lockdown and not being able to go anywhere else but here, basically. And our own country hasn't reciprocated. USA has not reciprocated. Had they done that, we'd have economic survival. It wouldn't be huge and rapid, but it would be there. The base would be there. And it really irks me on the humanitarian side when we have a president who goes and chastises Cuba, and rightly so, for humanitarian wrongful actions. Look in the mirror, find Point Roberts, solve our own problems first. We deserve that attention. We've done it all right, and we're treated as if we're miscreants or somehow flying against the USA. It's mind-boggling. And as you can tell, frustrating.
You know what? You took the words out of my mouth. I was going to say, Brian, I hear that frustration, sir. So you mentioned my memory. Let's test my memory a little bit more from our last conversation. I recall you mentioned that you were having some sort of health issues, I believe related to your eyes. And then when you tried to get medical attention, you had to cross into the Canadian border. But the issue was they said, well, you're not dying, so this isn't a priority, which I found shocking, but okay. So did you get...
Impeccable memory.
Well...
Impeccable memory.
I'm taking my vitamins. So tell me, did you get the medical attention that you need? Have you?
I did in Bellingham. I was turned away in October, even though I had the doctor's full specialist appointment to have my cataract surgery done. And I ended up coming back because they were going to fine me $3,000, incarcerate me for 14 days and blah, 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 if I challenged the border, which I can do as a Canadian citizen. But the penalties, I went, no. And plus they take away your Nexus card or whatever, So I came back home and I finally got an arrangement in Bellingham. And that was 3 weeks ago. I had both eyes done. And now the only problem with it aged me 20 years because now I can see all my wrinkles. But other than that, it was a roaring success. I mean, if anyone's thinking about it, get it done.
Okay.
But anyhow,
so
that's how long it took me to find someone and they did a great job, and I'm very happy with it. But I would prefer to go 3 miles rather than 50 and 2 borders and so on. But it's done. And yes, thanks for asking. I'm
so glad this interview has taken an odd turn, but this is the ride that we're on. So, you mentioned wrinkles. I don't want to be rude, sir. My mom raised me better than that. But I do want to say, Brian, you look way more stressed now than you did just a couple of months ago. And I know you're frustrated. What is this?
18 months of lockdown, and I didn't do anything wrong. We're doing everything right. We're doing the vaccination. We're doing the testing twice a week, and we're doing the gloves. We're doing the masks. We're doing it all right. And yet we're slapped. Well, worse than being slapped down almost is we're being totally ignored. Totally ignored.
I really hope from the last interview we did that somebody would somehow miraculously come up with a solution. But here we are now. Now you folks have to wait until September 21st for hopefully, from your perspective, the border opening up. You think it's going to happen?
Well, it's almost I don't want to say it's a moot point now. It's always important to deal with it in positive fashion. But we lost our summer again. Our people here in business, the Reef restaurant and all the rest, they normally have 15, 16 employees today. They got 3. And the summer, mid-September, it's all over. People are coming here to mothball their houses and insulate them and get them ready for the winter. So they've lost their summer again. I mean, the marina's gone from 850 vessels to 180. I mean, it's just, and it's unnecessary. That's the damning part. It's unnecessary. Someone take a look. When Governor Inslee came here, it took him an hour. He went, holy smoke, had no idea it was this bad. Immediately sent a correspondence to President Biden and said, open the border. Do a pilot test case, and so did Senator Murray, and so did Representative Del Benny. They're all his party, Democratic Party, and said, open Point Robert. Nothing.
Okay, let's hope for something. Brian Calder is the director of Point Roberts Chamber of Commerce. Sir, thank you so much for your time and best of luck.
Natasha, appreciate the coverage. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, sir.